I know they got a Heisman hopeful at quarterback in Will Grier, but I also know that Iowa State is their next game, and that ain't no easy win.
Okay, does anybody really believe that UCLA and Nebraska are going to go winless for the entire season? I know they look bad, but I'm not so sure about that. Bad news for them, though. They're both on the road this week, and obviously they're underdogs in both of those games. I'm going to talk about those two games today. And Duke is playing Georgia Tech. Of course, I need Georgia Tech to string some wins together. Hashtag support Paul Johnson. We need this guy to keep his job in perpetuity. I'm going to talk about those games and a few others that I find interesting this coming up weekend in college football, as well as tonight, Thursday night's NFL matchup between the Eagles and the Giants. And I'm going to do that for you right now. Hey, good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. And thanks for watching, I really appreciate it also. And two, if you were in the path of that hurricane that came through the panhandle of Florida yesterday, the southeastern corner of Alabama, and then up through Georgia, I hope you guys are okay. I hope all your friends, family, loved ones are okay. I hope you didn't have anything too serious happen with property damage or downed trees or anything like that. I've been thinking about you guys. Hurricane passed right over us. Well, it wasn't a hurricane by the time it got here, and nothing much to worry about here. So I got a lot of messages from you guys. So we're fine here. I don't know, 40-mile-an-hour winds or something and a lot of rain, but we're all fine here. So people to the south and west of here got it much worse than I did. I'm thinking about you guys, and I hope everything's okay. All right, here we go. Now, per usual, this preview and prediction video is going to be sponsored by the good people over at betnow.eu. They're sponsoring all my preview and prediction videos for this entire football season. There's a link in the description of this video. If you click that link, it'll take you over there. They're going to get you set up for all your college football betting needs. They have NFL over there too, if that's your thing. They've even given me a promo code to let you guys use. So when you get signed up over at BetNow, make sure you enter the promo code Uncle Lou. That's one word, all lowercase letters, Uncle Lou, and they're going to give you a 100% bonus on your deposit. Good luck. All right, we're going to start with the NFL game tonight just to go ahead and get that one out of the way. That way the people that want to complain in the comment section about the NFL can do that right off the jump here in the beginning of the video. But Philadelphia Eagles are 2-3. They go on the road tonight, take on the New York Giants. Another disappointing season for the Giants. They're sitting at 1-4. The Giants were one of two teams that I thought this year would be the most improved from last year. Cleveland was one, Giants were the other. Cleveland is looking much improved from last year. The Giants, not so much, sitting at 1-4. A lot of controversy, really, even amongst Giants fans about Eli Manning. Now, they love Eli Manning. You got him Super Bowl ring. They're happy with him for that. But you hear a lot of talk in New York about, his time being up. Odell Beckham Jr. doesn't seem to be too happy. They did draft Saquon Barkley, who I think was probably the best running back available in last year's draft. And he's looked good at times. But overall, the Giants have just been struggling. Now, they luck out here catching an Eagles team that's also sort of reeling. Quarterback out, of course, tore his knee up the end of last year. Carson Wentz missed the first few games of this year. He's back. He's starting. Hasn't really looked like his old self yet. Can he get it going tonight on the road at the Giants? I'm not so sure. I think the Eagles might have some other issues outside of just the quarterback position. Now, neither one of these teams have looked very good. The Eagles are a 2.5-point favorite in this one, which isn't a whole lot. I struggled on this game. I went back and forth a couple of times, but I'm going to go with the PTHD here. I'm going to go with the primetime home dog. I'm going to take the Giants in the 2.5 points, and I'm going to hope that they figure out a way to win an ugly game. All right, now let's run through the remaining college football games for this weekend that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet this week. Of course, every Tuesday I do an SEC preview and prediction video just like this one. I run through all the SEC games for the weekend. So I'll put a link up here if I can remember to do that, and you guys can click back and check it out if you haven't already. Then on Wednesday, I run through the top 25. So I do a preview and prediction of every team's game that's ranked within the top 25, excluding the SEC, obviously, because I did that one on Tuesday. Today, I go through the rest of the games and I pick out a handful that are interesting to me for one reason or another, or maybe interesting to you for one reason or another. I'm going to run through these like I always do in chronological order. So we'll start with some Thursday or Friday night games. We'll go through the noon games on Saturday and then into Saturday's primetime games. All right, here we go. This one comes on tonight, Thursday night, 7:30 on ESPN, a Big 12 matchup. Texas Tech goes on the road to face the Horned Frogs. TCU is a 7-point home favorite in this one. TCU's been a disappointing team this year to me. Lost that one to Ohio State where they sort of let it get away in the fourth quarter. That was a close game for about three and a half quarters. Ohio State ended up winning by a couple of scores at the end. But overall, TCU to me has been kind of a disappointing team this season. Gary Patterson's been there forever. Usually has a pretty good defense. Defense hasn't looked as good to me as what we're used to seeing from TCU. Texas Tech, typical Big 12 team, right? They're going to throw the ball 40 or 50 times a game. They like to score a lot of points. They don't even pretend to know what defense is, much less know how to actually play it. I think this will be a high-scoring game because TCU's defense, in my opinion, not where it has been in years past. Both these teams are 3-2. 7.5. You know what? I'm going to take Texas Tech here in the 7.5. I'm not sure Texas Tech can win the game, but I think they can score enough points to keep this one close. Over a touchdown there at 7.5 seems like the smart play to me. Give me the underdog, Texas Tech Red Raiders, and the 7.5 points. All right, we also have a Friday night game this week I'm going to talk about. This is a Pac-12 matchup here. Arizona goes on the road to take on Utah. Arizona 3-3, Utah 3-2. Utah's a 13.5-point favorite in this one. Comes on 10 o'clock Friday night over on ESPN. Arizona's been a weird team this year. Khalil Tate and Kevin Sumlin. How is that going to work out? Well, Kevin Sumlin was supposed to take Khalil Tate to the next level passing the ball. I'm not sure he's done that. What he has done is limit Khalil Tate's running ability. Well, I don't think he's limited his ability. He's just limited the amount of times he's allowing Khalil Tate to run around. I feel like Khalil Tate has lost a lot of what made him special last year, which was his athleticism, his ability to sort of extend plays and run around, almost like a just drawing plays up in the dirt type of thing. He turned a lot of busted plays into big plays last year, and we haven't seen a whole lot of that out of Khalil Tate this year. Now they got to go on the road to a Utah team that I think is obviously a better team than Arizona. 13.5, that's just under 2 touchdowns, and Utah is at home. I'm going to take the home team here and lay the 13.5. All right, and I'm going to keep covering Nebraska until they win a game. I don't care who they're playing, or maybe no one's even interested in Nebraska anymore at this point, but I'm going to cover Nebraska and UCLA every single week until they win a game. Nebraska's on the road this week. Of course, they're 0-5. They got to go to Northwestern. This game comes on noon ABC on Saturday. Northwestern hasn't been impressive this year either. In fact, they've been a pretty big disappointment. High expectations with Pat Fitzgerald, of course, their head coach, been there forever. Seems to overachieve almost every single year. Quarterback Thorson, is that his name? Thorson was coming back from a bad knee injury last year, but he was a dynamic player for them. He hasn't really looked the same this year, and Northwestern has struggled starting out at 2-3. The weird thing when you look deeper into Northwestern's schedule, their 2 wins have both come on the road. All 3 of their losses have been at home. They're a 4-point favorite in this one. This is the week, Cornhusker fans. Adrian Martinez is starting to look a little bit better, especially throwing the ball the last couple of weeks than what he was earlier in the season. I think Nebraska is going to make enough plays. I think Nebraska actually wins this game. Now, I'm not going to take them straight up, though. I want the 4 points. But give me the Fighting Scott Frosts. And they could get their first win here, but I'm going to take the 4 points. But give me the Corn Shuckers and the 4 points. All right, how about Oklahoma State on the road at Kansas State? This one also 12 o'clock. This one on ESPNU, though. Oklahoma State 4-2 is a 7-point favorite over Kansas State, who sits at 2-4. Kansas State been disappointing this year. Took a shellacking from Mississippi State, which we now know not a very good team, sitting on 2 wins. I'm going to be honest, it's going to be hard at this point, I think, for Kansas State to make a bowl game, which I remember telling you that in the offseason and getting laughed at by Big 12 fans who bragged about what a great coach Skeletor was. By the power of Grayskull! He's done good with what he has to work with at Kansas State, but if you looked at everything Kansas State was losing from last year, what they had coming back, their schedule, it was hard to find 6 or 7 wins on that thing in the offseason, and I sort of got clowned. I think I picked them to go 5-7, and right now I would put my money on that record of 5-7. 7 points. Oklahoma State, they've been a little bit disappointing too. They have an offense that can get up and down the field though, and I do like Justice Hill. I think Oklahoma State wins this game, but I actually think this one's going to be closer than a lot of people think. This is almost a must-win game for Kansas State, and it's at home. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they come out with a lot of motivation here and keep this game close. I'm going to take Kansas State and the 7 points. How about Duke at Georgia Tech? This one noon too. Going to be hard for you to find this one on TV unless you're local to one of these areas. Duke 4-1, surprising really 4-1 on the road at Georgia Tech, who's at 3-2. Steamrolled, what was it, Bowling Green, I think, last week, putting up 60-something points on them. Georgia Tech's a 2.5-point home favorite in this one. Why? I guess they're figuring Duke's not going to be able to stop this option, and Georgia Tech's going to play keep away. I don't know. If you've watched college football this year, Duke is obviously the better team here. I know they haven't played a lot of stiff competition, but neither is Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech has looked really, really bad at times. I'm going to take the road team here. There's not a huge home environment. You don't get a huge home field advantage at Georgia Tech. You just don't. I seriously doubt this game will be sold out. Most of their home games don't sell out. I would be shocked if this stadium will probably be half full. I just think Duke is the better team here. I don't know. Am I wrong? I mean, this 2.5, it seems like they're begging you to take Duke here because you just look at these two teams and 2.5, Duke is obviously better than Georgia Tech, way more than 2.5 points. So when you see a funny looking line like that, a lot of times it's like, do they know something I don't know? Like it seems like they're just begging you to take Duke. I'm going to fall for it. Give me the Blue Devils on the road to win by more than 2.5. Another disappointment here. Virginia Tech, they're sitting at 3-2. Lost at home to Notre Dame. That's not the disappointing thing, but of course the road loss to Old Dominion. I mean, that's going to go down as one of the worst losses in Power 5 history. But they're a 5.5-point favorite this week on the road at North Carolina, who's a complete dumpster fire. Started out the season with 10, 11 players suspended for selling shoes and various things like that in the offseason. So they started out 1-3. This game comes on 7 o'clock ESPN2. The Hokies a 5.5-point favorite. I could try to break this game down and tell you different things. Bud Foster defense, blah, blah, blah. Virginia Tech's offense coming around, yada, yada, yada. UNC's got a lot of its players back, blah, blah, blah. Forget that. Virginia Tech is way better than North Carolina. This line, 5.5, this should be 15.5. Bet the house on Virginia Tech minus 5.5. All right, Chip Kelly, it's your turn. Now, of course, I picked Scott Frost with the points earlier in this video. Let's see what Chip Kelly and the fighting UCLA Bruins are looking like this week. But they're 0-5 on the road at Cal. Cal's 3-2 and a 7.5-point favorite in this one. This one comes on 7 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. Cal is a much better team than UCLA. They've been surprising to me, to be honest. I've been surprised at how good Cal has looked at times this year. It's a home game. It's 7.5 points. I don't think that's enough either. I can see Cal winning this game somewhere in the 14 to 17-point range. Honestly, I think UCLA is that bad. UCLA might be worse than Nebraska. That's an interesting question. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. But if UCLA and Nebraska played right now on a neutral site, who would win that game? I don't know. But I'm going to take Cal and lay the 7.5 here. I think the Bears get it done. The Bruins are just awful. All right, that's it for the previews for this week. So Tuesday we covered the SEC. Wednesday we covered all the top 25 teams. And then today, Thursday, I just ran through a list of every other game that's interesting to me for one reason or another. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Live show schedule left for this week. Today's Thursday. So, of course, every Thursday night, 10 p.m., we have a live show. We'll have another live show tomorrow, Friday at 3 p.m. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we'll have our final live show of the week. Tomorrow is Friday, so obviously I'll have the Georgia LSU hype and hate video out for you guys tomorrow, and it's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss that one, I promise. This is Georgia's biggest game of the year, of course, going on the road to Baton Rouge, take on the LSU Tigers. I'll have to come get you some video for that out tomorrow, and I'm working on a second video for today that will be out later this afternoon, so look for that too. It'll be one of those short 4 or 5 minute hold the camera in front of my face and yell at it for 5 minutes videos that you guys love so much. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. I really do. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year, and a lot of times they're even watchable. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great morning.